Hello everyone, this is Words of Sorrow, and I'm back for another video, this time a guide on how to play Voridus. It's been a while since I uploaded the last video, which was about Pavium, but there are reasons for that, which I'll get into after I explain the opening here that I do. So I open sending my Grunts to the middle, or at least one of them. And I'm going to try to take that mid-mini base, because Voridus actually plays differently on this map than he does normally. In order to get the mini on time, you're going to need to delay one of your pads. So you can see I kind of build that a bit later than I normally would, but it's worth it. Basically what you want to do on this map is grab that middle mini, then put down a double barracks on it, and then with combat spoils, you just split jump pack brutes all over the map, killing their mini bases, and you get paid for it. This is easily Voridus' best map, and so I use that to my advantage here. The game is against a Smurf, I'm not sure who it is, but I looked them up on Waypoint, and they have like an 83% win rate or something, so they're not bad. And also, this matchup is very favorable for him. Anders is one of the worst matchups that Voridus has, but I make do anyway. Here I'm going to aggro the sentinels, then put my grunts into the garrison. That's something I do no matter what leader I'm playing. It just lets my grunts tank the sentinels without me even having to micro them or anything. They take care of it themselves. So I'm doing my standard build, Gen 3rd, and I'm beginning to pump jump pack brutes already, not really caring to prioritize getting my own minis, because if he were to take those, I could just send jump pack brutes there as well, and I'd get paid to knock him down. As my second point, I always get Grenadier drop. It's a pretty good ability to just help spread goo, and although I don't think I get to demonstrate it in these games, if I'm playing standard, I'll go take my chopper to their base and drop the Grenadier at their generator, and I'll just target that down. And that means they have to come back to kill that, and it also gives me power because of combat spoils. So it's some nice harassment. And now I guess I can get into why I haven't been uploading as frequently. That is kind of because this season has been screwing me, and I've been getting a lot of disconnects. In fact, the Smurf that I am playing on in this footage dropped from Champion 15 to Onyx within the space of a day because of crashes and disconnects. And I know it's not my internet because I have an Ethernet cable. I also reinstalled the game, and that did not fix the problem though, so I guess it's just the game, and I'm getting terribly unlucky for some reason. So it's kind of been hard to get good opponents when I'm not in champ, although by the end of the second game here, I do get back into champ. So I've cleared out one of these minis, and I'm taking it now. I'm getting my own minis, and once I get up my third mini, or fourth actually it would be, I'm going to get out my hero. Now the Voridus hero I think is very underrated. He got a 5% HP buff, which a lot of people kind of laughed at because it's 5%, but people, I don't think, actually gave it a try. They just saw 5%, thought, oh, that's a small change, that probably doesn't mean anything, and moved on. Really, the hero is already fast enough to get out of engagements without dying if you notice his shield goes down. But with that 5% extra HP, that just allots you a bit more time to pull him out, which is very nice. And something I hadn't tried before in playing Decimus was going Invigorating Frenzy, because I thought that well, the hero's bad, the grenadiers are bad, infused engineers are bad. I'm not really going to have that many options to spread goo early game, so it's not really worth getting. But now that the hero is better and that you can easily get him out of engagements without him dying, he basically is an endless goo faucet, which is very nice. And it allows your army a lot of sustainability if you just get him out, Y ability, walk around, and then activate Invigorating Frenzy. And something I didn't know before, again, was that Invigorating Frenzy not only heals you, and heals you at a pretty good rate, but it gives you a speed and damage boost, which is also very nice. So at this point I'm swarming him, and there's not much he can do. This is just a demonstration of what to do on Mirage. I would definitely not advise going double raid camp every game as Voridus, because not every map caters to this kind of playstyle. The game's pretty much already over since I've gotten down one of his upgraded pads. I've managed pretty much by myself a free generator, and killing the generator really helps kind of refund all the power I've spent on these jump pack boards. I use Invigorating Frenzy there with the Grenadier drop, and that helps sustain me. But in the next game, you'll kind of see me play more standard, although I don't think I even play standard there either because he goes double barracks. But I think since you can see that even though he does push me off here, the game is over, as I've just boosted my economy so much off of his base. Meanwhile, I've stripped him, and he doesn't really have anything, so I'm going to go ahead and cut to the next game. So this is game 2 against the same person, except this time it's on Frontier, and you have to play it differently than how you play Mirage, since there's no central mini that you can just put 2 raid camps on. Here my standard build would be a mass of grunts with my hero, and then I do kind of what I outlined last game, in that I add a lot of sustainability to my grunts with my hero Y ability with Invigorating Frenzy. And if I manage to push on his base, I can grunt mine down a pad that buys me a free gem, I kill a generator, I buy off my hero, and maybe even the mine upgrade on my grunts. But anyway, I always open Chopper as Voridus. Not always. On Fissures I don't like going Chopper because it's a small map and it's kind of unnecessary. But pretty much besides that I always open Chopper. So here I'm harassing one of his Marines trying to gather power. But more so the reason I go Chopper with Voridus is that I do have that Grenadier drop second point, and it's really nice to just be able to send that Chopper to his base right as I get my second point, so I can drop that Grenadier and harass his generator. But I'm doing my standard build again, Gen 3rd. The first mini I get up, I'm going to put my War Council on, but unfortunately I don't actually get to play this game standard either, as I scout him sooner or later, and I see he's going for a double barracks. So obviously the strategies I outline in the series are good, but you also have to adapt. I went into this game with the mindset that I'm going to spam grunts at him, but when I scout him and I see he has double barracks, obviously I have to call that off, because he'll be able to completely counter me with snipers. In fact, I don't even drop my Grenadier here because of the fact that he's got that double barracks and he could easily kill it. I probably wouldn't get enough value out of it, and I'd rather drop it somewhere else. But because he's gone for this really aggressive build, I've managed to instead out-mini base him. I've gotten 4 minis to his 2. And since he's got that double barracks, I'm going to go Choppers. Now he is Anders, so he can get Grenade Throw for really cheap, and also afford to double pump flamers. But that's not something I think other leaders could pull off as successfully, since they'd have to spend 400 power on grenade throw instead of just 200, and then their power reserves would be really low, and probably wouldn't be able to pump or double pump flamers. So the chopper play still works, it's just I've got to be a lot more careful, as grenades do tear them up. And that's part of the reason why Voridus struggles against Anders, but more so because Anders can get quick global upgrades, and that negates the effect of goo, pretty much. But anyway, he is pushing on my mini, and I'm just going to mass up my choppers and try and deal with that. I try to engage him by dropping my grenadier on his ball of infantry, and then ramming him all at once, and you'll see how that turns out. Spoiler alert, not too great. When you ram, you want to not like spam Y so that they all clump up, because if they all clump up, give it a second, this happens, they can just throw grenades and the splash damage utterly annihilates the choppers. So yeah, don't do that, it's not very smart. One chopper ram should be sufficient for the time being. You don't have to be impatient and just spam Y and end up getting your choppers killed like me. But anyway, in the meantime, I'm going to get my hero out eventually, since these choppers, I'm noticing, aren't standing up too well to these marines, and I need extra sustainability. And while my hero is very good for DPS, like I mentioned, he's also good for healing because of Invigorating Frenzy. But in the downtime here, I'm going to start talking about the leader point progression. Obviously, I go Combat Spoils, Grenadier Drop, and then I go Invigorating Frenzy, but after that, I go Infusion Tech. Now, I don't build Engineers, and I don't build Grenadiers, so you might think that's a waste of a point, but I think that it really helps the goo damage scale as your enemy gets upgrades and more health, so your goo doesn't become irrelevant. Also, your other options really are just bad. There's no other way of saying it. He has a drop, but the drop is only good once you put 2 points into it, and you really don't want to do that, as you want your 5th point to be Cataclysm, which is a really good ability. And even if that drop was good, if you put 1 point into it, it wouldn't be worth getting over Cataclysm. So just get Infusion Tech, you don't have to worry about getting a bad drop, which is literally just like a veteran marauder and an engineer. Pretty bad. But anyway, with what's happening in the game here, he's pushing on my mini, I'm sending my Grenadier, I dropped in here. What you want to do with the Grenadier is, when he's getting damage put on him, just keep running him, so that one of them dies, spreads the goo, you keep running, and then the other guy dies, and he spreads more goo. It's just what you want to do in order to get as much goo over the map as possible. Most of the time I wouldn't recommend training Grenadiers, but they are good for spreading goo, and if you don't have the means to do it in any other way, then they're good for that. But anyway, I'm teching up now, and I'm going to start building more grunts. That's something that's pretty important with Voridus. Just keep on your grunt spam. Whenever you're not producing grunts, make sure you're cycling through your minis and queuing them. Because while this isn't standard, most of the time you'd see me, like, half the gameplay here would just be me cycling through my bases, spamming grunts. Against Banished, the grunt spam also works, because while Suis are a big problem, you can just train 1 or 2 choppers, keep them ahead of your army, keep your eyes on them, and you should be able to ram the Suis when they come to try and blow up your grunts. Although even if they do get a good hit on you, you do have Invigorating Frenzy, and obviously one Suicide Grunt is not going to kill your Grunts, it's just going to red bar them, and then the heal will heal them back up. It's a really underrated heal. But anyway, he gets his hero out, and I catch him out of position and ram him to death. And now that I'm in Tech 2, I'm going to primarily focus on spamming Marauders and Rangers. Most of the time you can get away with just spamming pure Marauder against UNSC. But because I'm playing against Anders, I'm going to be going Rangers so that I can deal with that Spartan. Even though I just killed him, he's obviously going to prioritize getting him back out, as Anders has one of the best heroes in the game, especially once you get him upgraded. He gets pretty crazy. I believe he two-shots Rangers. So, though typically Marauder Ranger is better against Banished than UNSC, that's why I'm opting in for doing this against Anders. The reason it's better against Banished is because you need the Rangers, as Hunters are not terrible anti-vehicle units like Cyclops are. Anyway, I'm going to get aggressive here. A lot of the time you can do pushes with Voridus that otherwise would not be advisable with other leaders, because you're getting paid to push, so even if you're losing units, it's kind of worth it. But he throws down Arc Defense, so I'm going to leave, and something that you should take note of here is I use my Voridus Y ability so that he has to trudge through this goo, taking damage in order to follow me, and he doesn't realize that he can't fight my army, so I just turn around and kill him, and he can't run, because he'll have to run back through the goo, which slows him and forces him to take damage. So he kind of screwed himself there. When you're in a good choke point like that, you can just retreat, try and get them to follow you, and then use the goo, and that is one of the good uses for it. On top of this healing, which a lot of the time I like to just use whenever I can. And once again, he's pretty screwed because he's been stuck trying to beat and failing to beat my army the entire game. Not really any possible way he's going to be able to afford the Retriever, although he does have his hero, he's not upgraded yet. And I don't know what he was doing since he got Arc Defense and Heal. I don't know if he didn't get R&D too. Maybe he just didn't get Sentinel Synergy. I'm thinking that's what it was. But once I kill that Marauder he hijacked, I see that he did have his Spartan upgraded, but his shields were down, so I was able to kill him easily. Now, as my 5th point, I have Cataclysm, and I'm going to use my Y ability and just surround his base in goo, and then I'm going to use that, and he's going to die. And that's how Voridus works. A timing push with Cataclysm pretty much demolishes everything. So that's that game. So to go back over Voridus, even though I didn't really play standard either one of these games, what you want to do is harass with a Brute Grenadier, spam Grunts, go hero, try and get aggressive, take down a gen, take down a pad, and that way you can get free stuff and boost your economy that way. If you're aggressive, combat spoils can be even more useful than Burnout, which is saying something because Burnout is pretty broken. Even though it was nerfed recently, combat spoils is still very easily the better choice over mine. I've had some success with Voridus recently, despite his kind of meh state right now. And I've actually suggested a few buffs since I have been playing him a lot recently. That would include making Grenadiers faster and do more DPS versus infantry, because as of now, they're way too expensive for what they do, which is basically die and spread goo. And also increasing the effects of Infusion Tech. Now, I'm not sure if Infusion Tech affects Cataclysm or not. It kind of seems like it does, but I haven't seen any tests. So if it doesn't affect it, it should, and if it does affect it, it should affect it more. Because once you get into the late game, Cataclysm doesn't even kill units, because, well, they've got their Tier 3 global upgrade, and they can just tank it. Which means even if you have Maelstrom, Cataclysm, and Infusion Tech II, it doesn't kill it. And that's 4 points and over 1,000 supply and power you've spent just to red bar the army instead of killing it, which is just kind of unreasonable. So those are my proposed changes to make Voridus a bit better, although as of now, I do think he's kind of underrated. He is low tier down there with Serena and Isabel as of now, but he's on the cusp of being very good. And I hope you learned something. And I'm glad to have gotten my champ back from all those disconnects, so hopefully I can search out more good players and get more guides out for you. But before I end the video, I'd like to issue a big thank you to Blinks ESP, who made this great new channel art for me that I haven't been able to mention yet. He did this out of the kindness of his heart, and it's something that I definitely couldn't do myself. It's also definitely a big improvement over what was there before, so thank you again. And I hope everyone got something out of this guide, and I'll see you in the next video.